Today's review is going to be a very interesting one. It's obviously, as you already know by the title, it is going to be about Pop Smoke. Before I kind of dive into what I'm going to speak about today, just want to say rest in peace to Pop Smoke. And I just pray that, God gives your family strength and just blessings throughout this time, especially, in a moment where his album is released and a lot of these emotions might potentially be creeping up again. So I just want to start it with that. As you can see, man's got the do-rag out today. You know what I mean? I was very comfortable, and then I looked at the weather forecast and said to myself, the weather is gonna rain over the next 2 days. So I said, you know what, cool, let me just record today in the comfort that I am in my do-rag and my sort of casual attire before it rains tomorrow, because I don't want to have to post this next week. So drill music is one of those things in the UK that we've very much taken it in our own hands and marked it with a stamp of approval. Now, even though this is something that, had originated in Chicago, I love the fact that we've really started to, and we have been for a while now, for the past maybe 5 years, really started to place our DNA into what drill music means to us here in the UK. And so when you look overseas and you look at how artists over there sort of respond to drill music, it's really amazing to see the growth that the genre has taken, from it originating roughly around Southeast London and growing throughout the nation, all the way to Ireland and far places like Australia, and most notably the United States. The relationship between the UK and the US when it comes to music has always been an interesting one. There was a period of time throughout the 90s and maybe I would say the early 2000s where the UK did at some point try to appeal to the masses of the US. But I believe it's been within the last 10 years plus that we've really started to say forget all of that and start to hone in on our own identity within our genre, whether it be through grime, Afro swing, and most notably drill music. And so when you have an artist like Pop Smoke who embodies what we take drill music to be as so well and so elegantly in a way that has his own identity on it and the whole New York swing, you need to understand why we like him so much here in the UK. And so Pop Smoke is an artist that does that very, very well and does it in a way in which we appreciate it so much in the UK, because oftentimes I feel like there's been moments in the scene where we've had to go over there or we've kind of showcased what we do over there and how we do things. But to see how Pop Smoke is an artist who sees what we do and shows love to it and pays homage to it in a way that's authentic and doesn't feel forced or fake, is something that I feel like we grew to appreciate a lot more within Pop Smoke throughout his career. Collaborating with the notorious UK drill producer 808 Mello, he already understood that if he wants to break into this type of genre, he has to link up with the people who are a part of this genre and are a part of the curation of drill music here in the UK. And so when he did come over to the UK and actually started performing these well-known songs like Welcome to the Party, Christian Dior and Christopher Walken, we opened him with open arms because he was someone who respected us enough to pay homage to this genre in a way in which we've been doing it for a very, very long time. So now let's think about it this way, right? We have all of this in our heads. We have all of this stuff that he's done in our minds. And we have to realize that this is an artist who has not only made such a massive impression on us here in the UK and also around the world, but the way he's just constantly striving and the way he was constantly pushing music and wasn't relying on Welcome to the Party or Christian Dior to carry his career. He kept on performing and kept on releasing banger after banger after banger, to really make us understand the type of person and the type of drive that he had. He wasn't someone that let his songs carry his career. He was someone who let his songs fuel his career into something greater. And it wasn't only that, but his willingness to come over here into the UK and collaborate and actually work with various artists, whether that be with Skepta on Welcome to the Party remix, whether that be through pictures of him being in studio with Fredo, and also potentially doing some things with Miss Banks. You can tell just as a person in general, he's someone who was very humble and very willing to listen and understand the type of music that he was diving into, to just improve and also to provide better content for us as people who listen to his music. And so when he passed away, it was very sad to see that this was something that had to happen to him of all people, because he had so much more to offer, because he had so much more that he was going to provide for us and so much more that he wanted to do. And so in some ways, I respect 50 Cent a lot for taking up this mantle, because he was an artist that Pop Smoke idolized and really looked up to. And to have someone you look up to in the music scene take your music and take your project and curate it into the album that we have now, I think is something that brings a lot of peace amongst fans of Pop Smoke. And so with that being said, today's video is going to be a review on Pop Smoke, Shooting for the Stars, Aiming for the Moon. So I think it's right for me to start this video by kind of just giving you a brief description as to how I got into Pop Smoke and how I knew who he was. The way in which I got to know who he was, funnily enough, I was just traveling through YouTube, just watching videos, and I stumbled upon a video on Genius where ASAP Ferg was basically diving through new artists within the scene in New York. And out of all of the artists that I had seen, Pop Smoke was the one that obviously stood out for me, not because of who he was, but because of the type of music that he was delivering. And to hear on the little fun facts that it was produced by someone in the UK, it made me really intrigued to see that this was an artist that was already working with UK producers. And so it wasn't about until a week or two later that I saw this same song, Welcome to the Party, being played at a block party not too far from where I was. And it really made me kind of tune in to who this person was and really trying to find out what more he has to offer within the scene. And so when you look at an artist like Pop Smoke, who's just released this banger, Welcome to the Party, and then couples it with Dior, it's very hard for any other artist to kind of get caught up in that wave and not really produce or release anything else or release anything more. But he kind of took the opposite approach and actually said, you know, he's going to release Meet the Woo, which would give us a brief description and a brief introduction as to who he was. Again, releasing songs like Welcome to the Party and Dior, but also songs like PTSD that would give us an idea as to where his musical inspirations come from. And then when you go into Meet the Woo 2, you've now seen Pop Smoke in Super Saiyan mode, where it's banger after banger after banger, and he's here with a mission statement that he's already fulfilled, and he's showing everyone that this is the type of sound that I'm bringing, this is the type of vibe that I'm bringing, this is what I'm about, and no one's going to tell me otherwise. And that's a good reflection in what Meet the Woo 2 delivers. Invisible, Shake the Room, Christopher Walken, Foreigner, Sweetheart, even his Charlie Sloth freestyle on Beats One Radio was there as well. And that made me realize that this is someone who's taking this very seriously and isn't relying on his hit songs to really carry his career. And so when you come to his posthumous album, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, there's quite a lot that we need to unpack. And for the viewers who don't know, because I only sort of realized what this definition meant not too long ago, posthumous is basically essentially a body of work, whether it be a film or an album or sometimes an award that would be given to someone who has already passed away. So the posthumous album is post Pop Smoke's death. His album, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, that is essentially what posthumous means, if that makes sense. So the introduction to the album with Bad Bitch from Tokyo and Aim for the Moon are two songs where we already know that Pop Smoke is in his element. You know, rapping in this style and this type of format for him is literally just second nature. And so it really kind of just reminds us and just gives us an idea that Pop Smoke's roots has never really left him, and it's something that he wouldn't have left or he wouldn't have really sort of given up on. And that's what I like about the introduction to the album, is that he just gives us a nice brief understanding as to, yo, I'm still here, I'm still dropping bangers, don't get it twisted. I would have really liked to hear a more extended version of Bad Bitch from Tokyo, but I think the way it kind of transitions to Aim for the Moon kind of really sets it up nicely. One thing I also want to mention is just how much Quavo is just. He just glides on every single thing that he features on. And from when he was in Shake the Room in Meet the Woo 2 to now with Aim for the Moon, and again on all the other features that he does on the project, these two have a very, very strong chemistry, and I would have loved to see them do a joint collaboration, same way that Quavo did the same thing with Travis Scott. The way they go back and forth with each other and just really vibe off of their mood and vibe off of their lyrics and what they're about just really makes me understand that these two are people that really complement each other within the music scene. And then when you go further down into the album and you listen to Snitchin', which again, Buddha Bless and Quavo, or Buddha Bless and Migos in general, have always had this strong relationship and strong chemistry. So it was no surprise to me that when he produced Snitchin', it was already going to be a banger. And it also does sound like something that the Migos would do as well on a future album. The type of production, the way it hits, the way the snares hit as well, really give us a glimpse as to how much influence Quavo and Buddha Bless really kind of complement each other. But also how Pop Smoke kind of inserts his own rendition on it in a way that doesn't really make it too fully fleshed out or too forced. And Future just comes in, just blessing us with his amazement on how much he can just flow and just his cadences. He takes a deeper tone in sort of diving into this song and does it very, very, very well. And I can only commend him for it. Another thing for me that really impresses me when it comes to listening to this album were the features. Not only having Quavo, but the way in which Lil Baby and DaBaby didn't necessarily surprise us when it came to their features, but didn't do anything that was out of the ordinary and anything that was kind of forced. And then when you go into songs like Make It Rain, Rowdy Rebel, who I never knew or never heard of before this album, really makes a strong debut and a very good impression as to who he is and the type of person that he is as well. You know, the way he just raps over the phone, I can only imagine the other cellmates in there just gassing him up and just getting hyped, just him spitting on his verse through the phone. You know, the way it was mixed and the way it kind of introduced him was similar to like introducing a new fighter in a fighting game. You know, this is a guy that doesn't play and he's here to actually give you the vibes. Sway Lee just gives us reason 726 as to why he is amazing on a feature, but also how well he performs on a drill beat makes me think how much more he could offer in this element. I really, really, really liked how he just came in, how he just contributes. The ad-libs of him just going, whoo, is just something that I always replay back when listening to this album and go into that particular song. Creature is definitely one of my favorites on this album too. Again, it was also nice to see how much 50 Cent featured on The Woo with Roddy Ricch, who again ice skates on his feature and just provides us with just a silky, nice couple of lyrics, just blessing us with how well he is. And again, reminding all of us that this is a guy who not only went to #1, but just continues to deliver from there on out. And so to hear 50 Cent again, you know, featuring on this song, someone who Pop Smoke idolized, and also when you listen to PTSD and Meet the Woo as well, it's just really nice to see how well these two kind of came together and finally came together. And I can imagine how excited Pop Smoke must have been to finally collaborate with one of his idols on his album, you know, and to have that there. 50 again doesn't disappoint as usual. And so pretty much the first majority, I would say 2/3 of the album provide us with a good idea as to how much Pop Smoke has developed and how this is an album that he was really looking to sort of bring to the masses, and without a doubt it definitely did so. Again, when going back to the features, you know, you have people like Karol G who allow Pop Smoke to kind of dive into a different side of his musical taste. Again, Tyga provides us with another brief glimpse and a good idea as to how he just never misses on a feature. You give him the ammo, you give him the gun, he's getting bullseye every single time when it comes to a feature. And so throughout this album, I was really pleased to see how well the features complemented Pop Smoke on these songs. And it made me realize how much these particular artists aren't afraid to go bar for bar with Pop Smoke in the style that he chooses. You know, it's not often that you see an artist sort of invite their features to kind of rap in a style that's similar to theirs, or go into a realm that they haven't really explored before, such as Sway Lee sort of given this type of vibe on a drill beat and just really providing us with what he knows, but another level upwards. I guess one thing that really upsets me when listening to this album is just how versatile Pop Smoke could have been. You know, when you listen to all of the different songs that he's just delivered on, you know, Something Special is a song that he actually posted on his socials. It was a video of him in the studio actually vibing to this particular song. And so it was nice that he kind of paid homage to the song that was notoriously known by Fabulous, but was originally made by Tamia. And it was just amazing to just see how well he was just not afraid to come out of his comfort zone and really dive into different styles of music that he hadn't explored before. You know, What You Know About Love, when you're looking at Diane and Gangsta, these are songs that Pop Smoke is really trying to get out of his comfort zone and really dive into a realm where he's starting to experiment more. He's starting to really think about what other types of styles of music can he sort of dive into and get into. But also another thing that really that was notable to me was how much Gangsta sounded like an album cut from Dr. Dre's 2001. Pretty much the final third of the album sounded more like Pop Smoke was really trying to pay homage to the early 2000s and an era of music that he grew up with. And he does it in a very good way. I do believe that, you know, with time, he would have really been able to develop it a lot more. And with songs like Yeah Yeah, it made me understand that Pop Smoke was really trying to dive into the realms of R&B, but in a way that makes sense to him. And so even though, yes, some songs I do believe lacked, and I do believe that some songs did have dominance, some more than others, such as, again, Bad Bitch from Tokyo, Aim for the Moon, when you're looking at Creatures, even Snitching, are obviously going to be more dominant than the songs that he's trying to do more of an R&B style on, like Diane, Gangstar, What You Know About Love, and also Something Special. And again, it was interesting to see how people were commenting on how Dior was made its third appearance on the album. But I guess to maybe counteract that argument, I would probably say that this is a song that was put there to be a final farewell from Pop Smoke. You know, this was a song along with Welcome to the Party that was very life-changing for him. And so as we're introduced to the new stuff that he had released and the new things that he blessed us with, adding Dior was a brief reminder to us as to how we got into him and where his roots lied and how much we sort of appreciated that era of Pop Smoke when he released it. I just have to commend 50 Cent for being the executive producer and really sort of stepping in to curate this posthumous album. And yeah, it's a hard one to talk about, I guess, you know, like, because in my mind right now, while I'm even speaking about it and listening to this album, it's just sad to kind of just sit and think, yo, this is an artist that could have done a lot more and developed his R&B side to him. You know, his drill side, I feel like he had already perfected it and mastered it in a way that was just second nature to him. It was just his sixth sense. You can't help but always think after listening to this album how much more he would have had to offer. And so with that, you know, it just made me think, you know, like we could have had a Pop Smoke and Quavo collab. Same way, again, like I said before, with Travis and Quavo. More features with 50 Cent. His potential collaborations with UK artists as well. But also his touring and his gigs, and especially here in the UK, everybody just like whenever Pop Smoke comes on in any rave that you go to, the whole ground is shaking. So to have him tour here, which he was going to do, I believe would have been easily one of the best concerts to go to of the year, without a doubt. And it is hard to question whether Pop Smoke would have actually chosen some of the songs that were on this album. So it is, again, hard to, you know, have a glimpse and idea as to the type of theme that he would have taken. But I think the nice thing about this is that we have a well-rounded piece of the type of sounds that Pop Smoke was dipping his toes into. And yeah, so with that, that's the review. That's my thoughts and my takes on Pop Smoke's Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. If there's anything that I missed out, that you feel I missed out, leave a comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, turn your notification bell on so that you get notified when I release a new video. And as always, show some love. I appreciate you guys for always supporting and watching these videos, and hopefully we can just continue to grow week by week, video by video, year by year. And with that, that's pretty much it. I'm Archie. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you guys as always, and peace.